You're a noisy eater, Zeph. Hey, kia ora, Helen Brahms here, can be live from Sun City in Arizona. Hope you're having a super fantastic, sparkling Serenity Sunday. We did nothing today. Nothing. If you watched this morning, you heard that my wrist was playing up, so I had to rest it. So been using mouse left-handed, which is really slow. So it was like, get off the computer. And I was like, what can I do today? I could read. And did that for a little bit. And then I thought, like watching something. I just wasn't sure what I wanted to watch. And so I got on Netflix and had a look around there and found the TV series Quantico. And I'd heard different reviews about it, you know, when it first came out and all that sort of stuff. And I never watched it when it first came out. And so I thought, you know, I'm going to give it a go. I think I'm up to episode 7, beginning of episode 7. OMG. This has got so many twists and turns in this thing. I'm like, wow, how did I not know about this before? And I'd also discovered that the final season of House of Cards is out, which I didn't even realize that they had made another season. So I was like, oh, I've got to watch it. And then I thought, oh, it's been a while since I've seen that. So now I'm going to have to binge watch that one at some point as well. But, you know, for today, it was fine because it meant I could sit in the chair, do absolutely nothing except watch this TV program, twist and turn all over the place. And it was good. And Zeffie got some sleep, and like she normally does, she napped. She did hit the treat button, but it didn't say anything, so I ignored her. She was not happy. She backs up, sits down on the engine hump, and goes, and I just looked at her and go, what? And she looks at the button and looks at me. There she goes again. Come on, you can come up. And so we just got back from our evening walk, so that was kind of nice. We had a nice stroll. We strolled. So yeah, that was kind of nice. But this morning when we were out for our walk, we got to talk with some of the people in the park here. There's a guy who sits out on his front porch on someone. Well, hello. Who sits out on the front porch some mornings. And this morning he was holding up this file folder that had the number 10 on it. And I'm like, what are you? I got a 10 out of 10 for what? And he said, like, because you're outside walking. And I went, oh, okay. And so we ended up talking, and his wife came out, and I actually got to meet him like about a week ago. And nice guy. And then his wife came out to him and goes, oh, he says, Nan, this is the girl from New Zealand I wanted you to meet. And so we probably stood there about 30, 40 minutes just chatting and shooting the breeze and stuff. And Zeffie was actually kind of on her best behavior, because normally when I stand and talk to people, she gets all whiny and stuff. And so at one point I bent down and picked her up, which hurt like hell, but I picked her up, and once she was in my arms, it was okay. And so she sat there for a little bit and just didn't even wriggle or nothing. She just like looked around at shoulder height, like, oh, this is a different view from up here. And then I put her back down on the ground, and she laid on my feet. She actually laid down, and part of her body was on one of my feet, on my right foot. And I was like, well, you've never done that before when we've started, and never heard another peep out of her until it was time to go. And but yeah, it was good. Got to meet some of the new people. Or not new people. They've been there for ages. They're snowbirders, so they're getting ready in about a week. They're heading back home to Washington State. So we got to chat for a little bit, and he says, that New Zealand program I was trying to remember to chat about, which means I got to go look it up. And he told me the name of it and gave me another one that he likes as well, another New Zealand program that he likes. And he told me what channels they were on, and they're channels that I don't have. And I was like, darn. Actually, one of them was on a channel I don't have. The other one he thinks maybe on the PBS channel, so I'll have to go check that out since I have PBS. And so I gave him a couple of shows. I said, you might want to check out this one from New Zealand as well. I said, it's very quirky. And so he's like, oh, he says that sounds really good. Just right up the things we like to watch, the mystery thriller type things. And so we talked about everything. It was amazing what we got covered in 40 minutes. And as people would walk past, he'd hold up his 10 sign to let people know they got it. And somebody said, what am I getting a 10 for? And I turned around and I said, just because you're out walking. I said, it really should be a 20 if you're out walking a dog. 10 if you're by yourself, but 20 if you're walking a dog. But it was a lot of fun. We had a lot of fun out there doing that. So And then, of course, came back and it was like, what am I going to do? So I did eventually end up soaking my wrist and putting the deep blue on it, my essential oils, cream and oils and stuff. And it's helped some. I can't stand the smell of the deep blue. It's got wintergreen in it, and I don't like wintergreen. So it was sort of like suffer in silence. I actually got a hand towel and wrapped it around it so it would keep the heat on it and take the smell away. So that's what I did. I just got a hand towel and wrapped it around my wrist and just had it sitting up there and resting, and had it elevated, and although not up here elevated, just elevated on the little table next to the recliner, and had the towel wrapped around it so I wouldn't have to smell it. That helped. So yeah, there's some oils that I know that they work really, really well. I just can't stand the smell of them. And wintergreen is one of them. So yeah, but all the other, like peppermint, spearmint, mint, I'm in. But give me wintergreen, yeah, no, not going to work. So yeah, that's when I have to kind of suffer in silence on that one, because I know it's doing my wrist good when that's on. So just wrap the hand towel around it and let it heat up and that. So it was a nice day. It was a day of doing nothing, which was nice. Stayed off the social media and yeah, and got hooked on Quantico. So thankfully I am ready for the new week. So I didn't have to do any prep work for that. My week is ready. Everything's in the schedule and everything else. So we are good to rock and roll for the beginning of the week. Normally I do it on a Sunday. Then I found an article that said that maybe you should do it on Fridays, because then it leaves your weekend free. And I'm like, And as it was, we ended up talking about time mastery in the mastermind yesterday, and how to utilize your calendar and your schedules and everything else. And so it got done yesterday because I was learning all these new tips and tricks on it. So I just filled up my calendar yesterday, and so I don't have to do it today. And I was like, oh, great foresight. Yes. Did not get my other part of the laundry done I wanted to get done. I didn't get anything done today. Nothing. I did, however, manage to cook a New York strip steak for lunch, and I did a broccoli saw with a bit of grated cheese in there. And what else did I put in there? A smashed avocado, and that Greek yogurt cucumber stuff I can never remember the name of. Put some of that in there too. I mixed it all up together so it was the coleslaw with the cheese, and the dressing was the smashed avocado and this Greek dressing yogurty stuff with the cucumbers in it. And then had that with the steak. Oh, it was so good. It was so good. I thought, oh, I've got to remember that recipe, but I'm out of avocado. So actually, no, I'm not. I have pre-smashed avocados that are packaged for individual servings. So I could still do, and I still have some broccoli sauce left, and I still have some other Greek yogurt cucumber sauce stuff left. So, and I have more steaks to cook. So yeah, so that was fairly easy, because it was just like season it, turn it over, season the other side, and I could do that without the wrist hurting too much. And tongs I can use left-handed, right-handed, so that wasn't a problem. Even got it all cleaned up and everything else as well. So that was a good lunch. Although cutting it was a challenge. Cutting the steak. Fortunately, I have really good snake knives. Let's put a T in there, Helen. Steak knives. And so I was able to stab the fork in there, hold it at this hand, and just cut it into strips. And yeah, it worked well. It's amazing what happens when you have a wrist injury at the age. It's amazing what happens when you are 11 years old and you see a teacher who breaks his right wrist, and he was right-handed and struggling to learn how to write left-handed on the blackboard at school. It is amazing what sort of an impact that can have on somebody's life, because I saw him struggling that day. He wasn't my teacher, he was a teacher in the next room, but the classroom door was open, so as we were walking past, I could see him. And of course, he's got this big plaster all up his arm, and he's struggling to learn to write left-handed on a blackboard. And I looked at that, and I looked at the struggle, and I thought, I am never going to let that happen to me. And from when I was 11 years old, I started teaching myself to use my left hand as well as my right hand. Well, I was already right-handed at the time, but I started teaching myself to write left-handed, to use utensils left-handed, to iron iron, with the hot iron thing. Iron left-handed, brushing my hair left-handed is really weird. But I taught myself to take care of myself with my left hand instead of my right hand. So I basically taught myself to be ambidextrous. My handwriting is legible. It's still chicken scratch, but at least I can write left-handed if I need to. And there's been times over the years, and then fast forward to 12 years later, where I had the injury in my wrist, where I had the tendinosynovitis, which is an inflammation of the casing around the tendon, not the inflammation. Tendinitis is an inflammation of the tendons, and tendinosynovitis is the inflammation of the casing around the tendon, and I had the tendinosynovitis. And so not being able to use my right hand for a while, all that training I'd done for the past 12 years came in handy because I couldn't use my right wrist for a few days. And they even put a cortisone injection in there, and I vowed and declared I was never having another one of those again. And I have, to this day, I have not had another cortisone injection in my right wrist. It was horrible. It was horrible. I hated it. The swelling, the pain, it was, yeah. I don't think my wrist has ever been in so much agony as it was after getting that shot done. But yeah, vowed and declared that was never happening again, and it hasn't. So yeah, it's amazing what happens when you're 11 years old and you see somebody struggling, about how the impact it has on your life. So remember that when you're out and about doing things, whatever it is that you're struggling to do and you're struggling through, if it's something physical and people see you, you may have an impact on a child that they turn and go, oh, what if that happened to me? What would I do? See, you never know. People are watching. You never know. I was an 11-year-old child watching a teacher struggle. It had an impact on me, which later turned out to be fortunate that I had witnessed that and decided to take action on it, because I still use the skills today. And every now and again, I'll pick up like a pencil and I'll try to draw left-handed. Drawing left-handed and drawing right-handed, totally different, completely different. Yeah, there's just, I can't get, it's just like somebody else has taken over my pencil and my drawing pad and everything else. And if you ever get the opportunity, which I'm not going to give you the opportunity, but if anybody ever sees my drawings, they will think there's two different people drawing in my pad, because there's the right hand drawing and the left hand drawing, and they are so different. It is, yeah, it's quite funny actually. But anyway, I'm out of here. I'm going to go back and watch some more Quantico. Go out and have a super fantastic sparkling evening, and we will catch you guys back here bright and early for tomorrow morning for Magic Monday. Yay. Oh, I still don't have a wand. Huh. All right. Have a super fantastic sparkling evening. Hey, konera.